Hello, everyone. This is your host, Laiba Khan, and we are back with another exciting episode of our podcast where we explore the minds of remarkable individuals from all around the world who are shaping the future and making a difference in the world. So today, I have an incredible guest with me. He is one of the leading decision scientists and theory of constraints expert in the world. With his role as CEO of GoldRat Research Labs, he has been at the forefront of researching and developing new applications of TOC in large and complex organizations from both private and public sectors. So let's welcome our guest today and hope we can get inspired by his knowledge and his wealth of knowledge today. Hello, welcome to our podcast today.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
You're welcome. So let's just start with the concept of the theory of constraints. So our audience would love to know about it, what it is. Can you explain briefly about theory of constraints?
Absolutely. So I think that almost everybody out there, if not everybody, can relate to the idea that our constraint, our scarcest and most precious resource, is not money or time or knowledge. It's actually our limited attention. The amount of things that demand our attention, both at work and at home, will always exceed our available attention. So that's our ultimate constraint at an individual level. Theory of constraints is a methodology, a framework that helps us to decide where to focus our limited attention to get the biggest possible impact. So if you are running a for-profit business, that would be, where should I focus my attention to make the most possible money for my investors? If I'm a for-purpose business, then it would be, where do I focus my limited attention to make the biggest possible impact on those people that I share? So that's really, in a nutshell, what theory of constraints is. It helps us to decide where to focus. And a chain analogy is a kind of a useful way of understanding it, that says, you know, what determines the strength of a chain? The weakest link. And it doesn't matter whether the chain has got only 3 links or 300 links or 3,000 links. There's always just one weakest link at any moment in time. And that's really where you want to focus. If you want to strengthen the chain, if you want to achieve more of the goals that are important to you, whether they are impact goals or income, then you have to be able to find the weakest link, find a constraint, and make it stronger.
That sounds incredible. So you're also the CEO of GoldRat Labs. So tell us more about it.
Well, the company I co-founded in 2009 with Dr. Goldratt, that's where the name comes from. Eli was my mentor and business partner. He was the creator of Theory of Constraints. When we created the company, we essentially wanted to create a company with a vision of helping individuals and organizations make better decisions about the allocation of their scarcest resources, decisions that will help them to achieve more of the goals. What that requires, though, is very interesting, because it means that we have to study why good people make and often repeat bad decisions, both in their personal life and in their business. And as we've discovered some of these avoidable decision mistakes, we've developed a whole range of decision support methods and apps to help individuals and organizations make better, faster decisions when it really, really matters. And that really, really matters is an important part. We make about 35,000 decisions every day. Most of those are in the subconscious mind. We basically use what Dr. Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel Prize winner and author of Thinking Fast and Slow, calls System 1, our fast and automatic mode. You know, what we wear, what we eat, how we get to work. Even most of the responses that we make when people engage with us are in full and automatic mode. And that's because we're trying to save energy and cognitive power, because most of those decisions in the bigger scheme of things doesn't really matter. But there are a few decisions that really matter. It can matter a lot whether you get them right or wrong. And that's really where you want to deploy your system to. your slow and more deliberate mode of thinking, where you can massively benefit from, rather than just reacting, to an event that has happened, whether it's positive or negative, to slow down your thinking a little bit and think, what is the outcome that you really want? And what's the best possible response to get that outcome? And that's a kind of a simple framework that we use in our research lab, is this idea of E plus R equal O. So event plus response equal outcome. And that's really what we work on with our clients, both individuals and organizations, is to really understand why they often over and underreact, and that causes them to not get the outcomes that they want. Why they often react or respond in a negative way that can always make things worse or much worse, and understanding their outcome, helping them clarify exactly what their dream is, who they want to serve, in what way. That helps a lot to determine what the best possible response is to get there.
Wow. So how has your journey been so far in this developing innovative decision support methods and apps?
Well, I think, all of our journeys can be accurately be described at any point in time. It's the best of times and it's the worst of times, right? Whether we're talking about our experience in business or in our relationships, there's ups and downs. We're going to get positive and negative events. That's something that we can't do much about. The only thing we can do is to look at how we reacted or responded in the past, try to learn from that, and try to achieve better outcomes. So as an entrepreneur, I am extremely lucky. I feel extremely privileged to have been able to make money doing something I'm massively passionate about. But, when you have big visions, it can create this kind of sense of, well, whatever I've done is, I could have done so much more. I could have done it so much faster, so much better. And you can use those moments, those gaps, that can cause anxiety, or you can use it to, get that fire heated up under your butt and get going again. And that's kind of, in a nutshell, my journey is, we started off with very, very ambitious goals of helping as many people as possible, many organizations as possible, make better, faster decisions when it really, really matters. I feel very proud about what we've achieved so far, the new knowledge that we've created, the decision support apps that we've created. But at the same time, I know, it's possible to do so much more. And that's what gets me up in the morning and gets me going.
Yeah, that's great. So as you are part of, innovating the world, as you have created many apps, so let's dive right into digital twins. So that is also a great innovation that is coming our way. So what do you think that how digital twins can help industries like manufacturing and healthcare or urban planning?
Sure. So firstly, it's important to understand what we mean by digital twin. And you get, at a very generic level, you get two types. You get a digital twin of a part of a system. So if you think about traffic, right, you get a digital twin of a car. And that helps you to essentially create some kind of level of abstraction of a real car. So you're not modeling every single detail of that car, but you're modeling enough of the car that you are able to check what the impact of external or internal changes are on the car, be able to test out what strategies or tactics, for example, driving, right? If I had to drive the car, I can try out different AI, right, in terms of how best to get the car driven in a safe and reliable way. That's a digital twin of a part of a system. So it could be a digital twin of a car, it could be a machine, it could even be a person, where that digital twin represents how this person is going to make decisions. And sometimes they make decisions in a very rational way, and sometimes they make decisions in a very irrational way. But, as a friend of mine, Dr. Dan Ariely, says, people are predictably irrational. So you can actually build digital twins of human beings how they make decisions, and have a pretty accurate prediction engine of what will happen for the system. The other type of digital twins is one that is made up of the whole system. So here is, think about the whole traffic flow, right? So having a digital twin of just one part gives you some information, but having a digital twin of all the parts helps you to predict how the system will react to changes, both internal and external, helps you to check what's the best way of managing the system and not the parts. Because often when we are trying to manage and optimize the parts, we end up local optimizing. We want to figure out how to manage the whole system. So in our research lab, we've built system type digital twins. We can model a full supply chain. We can model a full mine, for example. We can model a full project portfolio system. So for example, if you were implementing IT projects or you're doing construction projects, we can build a virtual version of that environment, read in all the project plans, add in the level of expected randomness, both in terms of task durations, but also in terms of people's behavior, and press the play button. And within a couple of seconds can simulate what's going to happen on this project over a 5-year period. And you can run thousands of replications to see what's the range of outcomes that you might be able to get. So you can't accurately predict what will happen, but you can see how all the variabilities and uncertainties and interdependencies combine to give you a range of outcomes. And once you see it, and you might find that, wow, even best case scenario, we're going to be over budget and over time. That's not good. You can try out different strategies. So what if we not starting all the projects all at once, but we only do one at a time? We don't multitask. We sort of single task or focus and finish. So the digital twins is an incredibly powerful technology in that it can solve problems that cannot be solved by any other technology. And the way that we think about it in business is real life. What makes real life complicated is this thing that there's an acronym for called VUCA. So it stands for volatility. There's natural volatility in demand and supply. There's uncertainty in terms of what will actually happen or what the consequences are of events, especially where small changes can have a big impact. It will always be uncertain. The first C is for complexity. Things are interdependent. Imagine preparing a forecast for, the shirt that you're wearing, right? And you have to determine how much of the shirt am I going to be selling. Well, it doesn't only depend on the demand for that shirt. It also depends on how much of the previous model of that shirt is still left in the retailers and whether they're discounting them, right? There's interdependency, and that's what makes things complicated. The second C is for constraints. There's always some limited resource that makes things very difficult. If you always had enough resources, life would be so simple, right? But we often don't have enough resources. We don't have enough cash. We don't have enough supply. We don't have enough capacity. There's not enough demand. Those are the common constraints that you can get in any business. And the last part of VUCA, the A, stands for ambiguity. There's competing objectives. I want to be effective and efficient. And simulation models enable us to fully consider all of those factors. Whereas if you are building a little model, maybe of your budget in Excel, you can't consider the volatilities. You can't consider uncertainties. You use averages, and using that, you make a prediction of how much money you'll make or how much your cost will be. So that's kind of in a nutshell what digital twins is about. It helps us to deal and consider real world conditions, VUCA conditions, when we are making commitments and decisions.
Much, Dr. Barnard, for today's discussion, your knowledge and your insights. Thank you so much for your time, and it was our honor to have you on this podcast.
It's a great privilege, and for the viewers or listeners out there that want to know more, my channels, all my social media channels are just Dr. Alan Barnard, ALANBARNARD. And to check out our range of apps, harmonyapps.com. We even have a free app that they can download from their app store called Harmony Decision Maker that they can immediately use to try and make better, faster decisions when it really, really matters.
Yeah, so to the viewers, thank you so much for joining us today for this enlightening conversation with our guest today. And as Dr. Barnard said, you can follow him and you can get benefit through his apps and, for better future. And remember, the journey doesn't end here. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to our channel and let us know what more you want to listen, our conversation or our topics. Feel free to share your insights. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you once again for tuning in. And until next time, keep exploring, keep innovating, and keep making a positive impact in your own unique way. This is your host, Laiba Khan, signing off.